Let's talk about sex, ladies. Let's talk about our bodies. Let's talk about all the hormones in our bodies that we need. Let's talk about sex to reproduce. Let's talk about sex. Hey, let's talk about sex to reproduce. Let's talk about sex. Hey, yeah, I'm just being a little goofy. But if you ever heard that song that's from Salt and Pepper back in the day in the 90s, let's talk about sex. Um, Thought it was the perfect song to start with to introduce the first video about sex. Yeah. So I just want to introduce myself again. My name is Joy Dean. This is my page, The Nesting Stage, and I will be doing six videos or more talking about various topics about our body. And this first video will be about the hormones and hormones that are involved with sex. Yeah. So I have a question, and it may sound like a silly question, but why do we have sex? So, the number one reason why we do have sex is to pass down our genetic information to the next generation. Basically, it's to reproduce. That's the number one main reason. And the number two reason is for pleasure. Yes, we like to have sex because it feels good. Humans are one of the mammals that actually have sex because of pleasure. I also believe dolphins and apes. And if there are any other animals that you guys know of, just comment below and educate us because I think that's also interesting. That some only do it for reproduction and others do it because it actually feels good. Also, because of connection. We like to feel connected, especially if you're in a relationship, to keep things fresh, to rekindle things, to stay connected, and to stay in touch with one another. So, those are my three reasons, and there's probably more, but that's all I'm going to break it down to. So, what happens though? Like, what leads us to having sex? Well, that's when the hormones come in because we know, you don't just see somebody and then decide, oh, I'm going to have sex. No, it's like stages. There's lust, attraction, sex, if you decide to be in a relationship with somebody, and then, sex eventually leads to pregnancy. Nowadays, there's unwanted pregnancies, planned pregnancies, all kinds of pregnancies. But sex, you guys, can lead to pregnancy, regardless if you're on birth control or not. So, what are the hormones behind this? Well, let's start with something that we all might know. Estrogen, woo! Well, it's considered a female sex hormone, right? But remember, men also have estrogen at a lower level than women, but they still have it. Estrogen is produced by our ovaries, also in our fat cells. That's why some men who are overweight actually have higher levels of estrogen because of the fat cells that are in their bodies. Um, Also, estrogen is responsible for when we hit puberty to give us our breasts, our hips, and to have us grow hair everywhere all the time. And also, estrogen works well with progesterone. It helps to regulate our ovulation and our cycles. Progesterone is another hormone that's also produced in our ovaries. It helps our uterus get ready for pregnancy. It thickens the lining of the uterus wall so our egg can implant itself on the uterus wall for when it gets fertilized. It also maintains the lining throughout our pregnancy, which is very important because it helps us carry our baby to term. So estrogen and progesterone together helps regulate our cycle and our ovulation. So when we do not become pregnant, those hormones, the level of those hormones together drop. And that's when we actually start our cycle. So estrogen is at its highest when we're ovulating, which makes sense because our body, that's the time that we can get pregnant. So what happens? Some women report that their sex drive actually goes higher, um, which makes sense because our body is trying to get pregnant. And actually, there has been reports that men actually see women as more attractive when they're ovulating, which also makes sense because we're trying to attract the mate to come have sex with us so we can become pregnant. Um, Women's voices change, it goes higher, as well as our skin looks a little different, more clear, more beautiful, radiant. Um, Also, our pheromones, what we send out, like how we smell, men actually pick that up. Yes, you guys got to remember, we are mammals, so we still pick up on those things. I've also read an article that men can pick up on when someone is on birth control. They will actually think a woman is slightly less attractive, who like a woman on birth control is slightly less attractive than a woman that's not on birth control because they can sense who is fertile or not, like who can get pregnant. So isn't that kind of weird? It's like, well, I gotta take this IUD out right now. No, I'm just playing. No, I don't want to have any more babies. But anyway, so estrogen can affect our sex drive, especially during ovulation, as well as testosterone. Um, that is considered a male sex hormone, but remember, ladies, we have that too. So, for example, men, if your girl goes works, she goes to the gym to go work out, her testosterone level is actually higher. Yeah, you can get lucky. So work out with your ladies. Maybe something will happen at the end. So testosterone is also responsible for sex drives in both men and women. Also, estrogen and testosterone together can, create lust. Have you ever met somebody and you were already immediately sexually attracted to them? There you go. So say you are sexually attracted to this person, you guys end up hanging out and you start to like this person, you enjoy this person. Oh my goodness, you start having the feel good feelings and you get these butterflies. Oh my goodness, that's called dopamine. It's a hormone that's highly addictive. That's why you meet people that are always constantly in new relationships because it feels so good. The dopamine is like firing off. It's addictive. Or when people first get married, they're in the honeymoon stage. It's addictive. Or when you see a girl or a guy that's really into this new relationship and they just can't stop talking about this person, it's addictive. And that's how attraction starts with the dopamine plus norepinephrine, right? That hormone increases arousal. So now you have lust. Now you have those two hormones together, dopamine and norepinephrine. Now you have attraction. So hopefully these hormones are working because they're trying to get you guys to have sex. I know that sounds funny, but yeah, that's how it works. And so, say you guys do have sex, but to keep this relationship going, we have the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin is very useful and popular, especially in our bodies. It's there for labor, contractions, breastfeeding, when women have orgasms, when you just hold hands with your family member. It's to keep attachment, connection with your loved ones. And for men, oxytocin plus, for men, oxytocin is high when they become sexually aroused, like right before they have sex. And the other hormone is vasopressin. That is very important to men because it helps men to stay faithful in a monogamous relationship. This hormone keeps them focused on that girl, that one girl, that's my girl. No matter if this little beautiful little mama is flashing everything to him, right? He can pull himself back from that situation and just keep himself focused on his girl. Even though he's tempted, he could pull away from that. Most likely, if a man has low levels of vasopressin towards a female, he would cheat on her. And that's the article that I read. I will have links on it. So you guys can read it as well. But I thought that was super interesting to hear about that. So all of these hormones together, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, dopamine, norepinephrine, oxytocin, vasopressin, all together lead to lust, attraction, sex, maybe relationship, but eventually sex can lead to having babies. So that will be the conclusion of this video, just about the hormones. But the next video, I'll be talking more about like our hormones plus the sexual organs, and eventually we will get to ovulation and pregnancy and blah blah blah, the rest of it. So if you have any comments, thoughts, concerns, please message me, text me, type it under the link of this video, or post on my page. I welcome all things, all thoughts, all comments, agreements or disagreements. Okay, and until then, you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.